Most clothing brand owners think marketing starts the day they launch their first ad. I don't. I think marketing starts the moment someone searches for a product you sell, because at that exact moment, one of two things happens. Either they find your brand or they find someone else's. That's why I believe one of the biggest marketing mistakes clothing brands make isn't that they don't spend enough on advertising. It's that they don't spend enough time becoming discoverable. Over the last several years, I've reviewed and worked with Shopify apparel and clothing brands at different stages of growth. Some were brand new, some were already generating sales, some were spending thousands of dollars every month on paid advertising. And despite all of those differences, I kept seeing the same pattern. The businesses that grew consistently weren't necessarily the ones spending the most money. They were the ones building marketing systems that continued working even after today's advertising budget had been spent. If you've ever felt like you're constantly chasing sales, and if you've watched your advertising costs continue to climb, if you've wondered why your traffic disappears the moment you stop running ads, you're definitely not alone. The good news is that there are ways to build a clothing brand that doesn't depend entirely on rented traffic. In this video, I want to show you how I think about marketing a clothing brand today. We'll talk about customer acquisition, SEO, content, branding, paid advertising, and why I believe the strongest e-commerce businesses aren't built around a single marketing channel. Before we dive in, if you'd like a professional review of your own Shopify store, I've included a link below where you can schedule a free Shopify organic growth assessment. It's an opportunity to identify the biggest SEO and growth opportunities specific to your business, and I'll personally walk you through the areas I believe deserve the most attention. Now let's start with a question. What does marketing actually mean? Most people immediately think of social media. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook ads, influencers, email campaigns. And while every one of those can be valuable, they're only pieces of a much larger picture. Marketing is really about helping the right customer discover your brand at the right moment. That's why I spend so much time talking about customer acquisition instead of simply talking about SEO, because SEO isn't the goal. The goal is getting more qualified buyers. SEO just happens to be one of the best long-term ways to accomplish that. One mistake I see clothing brands make all the time is trying to be everywhere before they're visible anywhere. They're posting on 6 different social platforms, running ads, uploading videos, working with influencers, starting a blog, sending emails, launching promotions. They're incredibly busy, but if you ask them where most of their qualified customers come from, they don't really know. That's a problem, because you can't improve what you don't understand. One of the first things I recommend is figuring out exactly how customers currently discover your business. Do they find you through Google, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, email, word of mouth, returning purchases, Google Search Console, Shopify Analytics, Google Analytics? Your data already tells a story. Most business owners simply haven't taken the time to read it. That's one reason I enjoy reviewing Shopify stores. The answers usually aren't hidden, they're already sitting inside the data. Now let's imagine you're launching a clothing brand today. Where would I start? Surprisingly, not with SEO, not with paid ads, not even with social media. I'd start by understanding exactly who I'm trying to serve. Who is the customer? What are they searching for? What problems are they trying to solve? What style are they looking for? What words are they actually typing into Google? That last question is incredibly important, because customers don't search the way business owners think they do. A clothing brand might organize products around categories that make perfect sense internally, but customers often search much more specifically. Instead of hoodies, they search oversized hoodies, heavyweight hoodies, graphic hoodies, vintage hoodies, women's cropped hoodies. Every one of those searches represents intent, and intent is where good marketing begins. Because marketing isn't about shouting louder than your competitors. It's about showing up when someone is already looking for exactly what you sell. That's one reason I believe collection pages deserve far more attention than they usually receive. Collection pages often target broader product categories with significant search demand. When they're properly structured, they naturally align with how people shop. They're not just useful for search engines, they're useful for customers. They make products easier to discover, they organize inventory more effectively, they create additional opportunities for Google to understand what your store offers, and over time they become valuable business assets. That's something I think gets overlooked. Many people treat SEO like a collection of tasks. Optimize this page, fix that title, write another article, build another backlink. But experienced e-commerce operators usually think much bigger than that. SEO isn't isolated work, it's business strategy. Your site architecture matters because it influences how customers navigate your store. Your internal linking matters because it helps both shoppers and search engines understand relationships between products. Your keyword research matters because it reveals what buyers actually want. Your content matters because it builds trust before someone purchases. Everything connects. Here's another misconception I hear all the time. I just need more traffic. Maybe, maybe not. I've seen stores with very little traffic generate excellent revenue because the visitors were highly qualified. I've also seen stores with huge traffic numbers struggle because the audience wasn't interested in buying. Traffic by itself doesn't build a business. Qualified traffic does. That's why search intent is so important. Someone searching best oversized hoodie for winter is much closer to making a purchase than someone searching history of hoodies. Both searches have value, but one clearly represents stronger buying intent. The better your store aligns with those searches, the better your marketing becomes. Around this point, I think it's worth mentioning another area that many clothing brands ignore: product pages. Most product pages are surprisingly weak. Generic descriptions, supplier photos, very little original information, almost nothing that builds confidence. The problem isn't simply that Google sees similar content across multiple stores. The bigger problem is that customers don't have enough information to make an informed purchase. Better product pages improve both SEO and conversion rates. Original photography, videos, sizing guidance, frequently asked questions, lifestyle images, material details, care instructions, customer reviews. Every one of those elements helps shoppers feel more confident. That's good marketing, because marketing doesn't stop when someone lands on your website. It continues until they decide whether or not to buy. Now let's talk about paid advertising. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. When used correctly, paid advertising can be an incredible growth tool, but I don't recommend building your entire business around it. I think paid advertising works best when it's supported by strong fundamentals: a well-structured Shopify store, strong collection pages, high-quality product pages, useful content, clear branding, good conversion optimization, email marketing, organic visibility. When all of those systems work together, advertising becomes much more profitable. Now imagine the opposite: weak product pages, poor site structure, little organic visibility, no email strategy, minimal customer retention. Advertising has to carry the entire business. That's an expensive position to be in. Here's where many clothing brands make another costly mistake. They believe SEO and paid advertising compete with each other. I don't see it that way. I think they complement each other. Paid ads create immediate visibility. SEO builds long-term visibility. Paid advertising generates fast feedback. SEO compounds over time. Paid ads stop when spending stops. SEO often continues producing traffic long after the optimization work has been completed. That's why I encourage business owners to invest in both whenever possible. One creates momentum, the other creates durability. If you've made it this far and you're wondering what opportunities might exist inside your own Shopify store, this is probably a good time to remind you that you can schedule a free Shopify organic growth assessment using the link below. I'll personally review your store, identify the biggest opportunities I see, and explain where I'd focus first if it were my business. Now let's finish with a practical roadmap. If I were marketing a clothing brand today, I'd focus on becoming easier to discover every single month. I'd continuously improve collection pages based on how customers search. I'd strengthen product pages to answer buying questions. I'd use Google Search Console to identify pages already gaining impressions. I'd improve internal linking so both customers and Google could navigate the store more effectively. I'd create helpful content that supports both informational and commercial searches. I'd build an email list. I'd invest in customer retention. I'd use paid advertising strategically rather than depending on it entirely. Most importantly, I'd stop thinking about marketing as a series of disconnected tactics. Instead, I'd think about building a system. Every improvement supports the next. Every asset makes the business stronger. Every month, the foundation becomes more valuable. That's how sustainable clothing brands grow. Not through shortcuts, not through hacks, but through consistent improvements that compound over time. If there's one thing I hope you remember from this video, it's this: marketing a clothing brand isn't about getting attention. It's about becoming discoverable, building trust, and creating multiple paths for qualified customers to find you. The brands that consistently do those three things usually outperform the brands chasing every new trend. If you'd like personalized guidance identifying the biggest SEO and growth opportunities inside your own Shopify clothing brand, I've included a link below where you can schedule a free Shopify organic growth assessment. I'd love to take a look at your store, share my observations, and help you identify practical opportunities that can support long-term growth. And if you found this video valuable, consider subscribing. I regularly share practical Shopify SEO strategies, e-commerce growth ideas, and real-world lessons I've learned working directly with apparel and clothing brands that want to build stronger businesses through sustainable organic traffic and smarter customer acquisition.